the inside story on the issues that affect you and your community. This is Local 12 Newsmakers.
Good morning and welcome to Local 12 Newsmakers. The Democratic Party went for over 4 decades, never controlling 2 of the 3 votes on the Hamilton County Commission. Most of those years, they couldn't even elect 1 commissioner. But in the first decade of the 21st century, shifting demographics, the outflow of wealthier residents from the central county into farther out suburbs, changed the makeup of Hamilton County electorate. That shift, in combination with the anger over the deal negotiated by a solidly Republican commission to build a new Bengal stadium, led to the election of Democrat Todd Portune in November 2000. 6 years later, David Pepper joined Portune, giving the Democrats a majority for the first time since the early 1960s. But this year, Pepper is running statewide for Ohio Auditor, creating an open seat. The question is, can the Democrats identify a candidate with the ideas and voter appeal to hold the seat and a majority on the Hamilton County Commission? This morning, I'm joined by the 3 candidates vying for the Democratic nomination on May 4th. Hubert Brown, known as Brownie to his friends, has served as a trustee in Whitewater Township in the western part of Hamilton County for 14 years. He is a retired union electrician and now works in sales for an electrical supply company. Cecil Thomas served for 27 years as a member of the Cincinnati Police Department. After retirement in 2000, he became the executive director of the Cincinnati Human Relations Commission, and in, about 6 years ago, was elected to Cincinnati City Council, where he currently serves. And Jim Tarbell has been a figure in Cincinnati's urban scene for decades as an entertainment promoter, as a restaurateur, an advocate for the redevelopment over the Rhine. In 1998, he joined Cincinnati City Council and served until he was term limited out in 2007. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And let's begin by taking a look at, I guess, what is sort of that looming question out there, which is the county budget next year. Because of the economic situation, because of some past structural deals, the county is facing, because of state cuts, facing a huge budget crunch. What do you propose to, maybe as big as $50 million, what do you propose to do about that if you're elected? What will be your stance about what we do about that? Jim, let's start with you.
Well, my impression is that the administration, after a great deal of due diligence, recommended as a first step the rescinding of the property tax rollback for the stadiums. And I'm a firm believer in supporting the administration, and I think we have a good one at the county, if I'm convinced that they've done their homework, and that's been my impression. If anybody had an axe to grind about the tax rollback, about the stadiums, it would be me, having led the effort for baseball at Broadway. But having said that, I think my impression is that this is the best first step. It could be done quickly, and it would be probably the most fair. My proposal would be there to be a cap, so that the first $150,000 on your property tax value, on the value of your house, would be exempted. Mm-hmm. And coincidentally, the vast majority, about 90% of the income from that program, is for real estate above $150,000. So those that are the most able would be the ones that would be incurring the expense.
And to what extent would that meet the budget deficit?
It's not all. It's maybe half of what is necessary to long-term meet the deficit. But it gets us started. I think once we make that decision and get started, the rest will come.
Cecil, where do you stand?
Obviously, first thing you got to do is look at the services that we provide the county. Shared services is the key to really beginning to look at bringing more revenue into the county, limiting the spending. Other municipalities spend their dollars. When you share those services, including the city of Cincinnati, when you start sharing and looking at how we can better expend those dollars, then you begin to see revenue.
What about
changing.
sharing police, merging the sheriff and the Cincinnati Police Department?
I wouldn't advocate merging it, but I would advocate sharing the services such as the 911. That's exactly what we're doing now.
And how much do you think can be saved in that kind
Well,
of move?
that's just one start. Now it's not gonna balance your budget. Then you got to look at this whole issue of the stadium deal. You know, what were we thinking when we projected that? Now,
but we did it.
All right, so we've done it. So now what do? You go back to the table. If they choose not, and meaning the owners, if they say no, we're not interested in talking, then what do? I'll Chapter 9. I'll reorganize the debt. I'll ask the judges to reorganize the debt. Chapter 9 on that, so that we can better.
So you'd be willing to look at bankruptcy?
Absolutely, on that issue, absolutely.
Okay, Brownie?
Bankruptcy is not an option. Bankruptcy would cost you millions of dollars, lawyers' fees. That's not an option. We are stuck in this. Let's go back to the teams and say, Todd Portune sued the teams to try to get them to get the better deal. They've got a